primarily about the Native Americans and the original intent behind them wearing the feather. In the ancient way, your native red American races understood the nature of the birds. The birds are very sensitive to magnetic fields and microwave energy, as you call it. They will migrate along the Earth energy grids, and their wings, which are made up primarily of feathers, were to be watched as they were very sensitive. To watch and follow the birds is to know which way the Earth's magnetic flows are moving. They would also, the Native American races, camp off these magnetic flows because the radiation would become harmful in time. The feathers are very sensitive to energy fields and magnetic fields. They are, in fact, an antenna. The feather would attract telepathic communication with all the tribe. As the chief would think or quietly discuss plans, the rest of the tribe would, in the ancient days, receive the message with few or no words. Isn't that cool? Asked my wife if I should wear a feather in my hair. She says, nah. Now, what's really interesting is that most of our cities are built on the magnetic grids. When, there's a lot of folks sick in the inner city. There's a lot of turmoil in the inner cities. Okay? Because we're not in balance. And of course, we persecuted the Indians because their knowledge was different than ours. Okay. The quiet science of archaeology has and will discover more and more of our ancient history, including extraterrestrial civilizations. There is going to be the acknowledgement of a temple complex that belonged to Lemuria that is apparently still intact, lying approximately 150 miles southwest of Easter Island. I'm told it's huge. I've also been told the Russians already know it's there. They have photographed it and explored it in mini submarines. We are going to discover that consciousness, I know you guys already know this, but for those who aren't here, we are going to discover that consciousness is not in the brain, but is located in its entirety in the energy field and or aura. And that energy field is the 4 to 14 ounces the body loses at the moment of death. Okay, I know you guys know that. Let's see. UFOs. Okay, apparently there have been discussions amongst benevolent councils, and I will only speak for the Andromeda Council because that's what Morane has told me, that they have told all of the negative extraterrestrials in and or on our planet and on the moon to be out of here no later than August 12th, the year 2003. I've also been told that there's a very high probability that we could wake up some morning in that area of time and our moon will not be here. That is because it is the first stage of defense. And they will literally hit it with a tractor beam and pull it away from us if they're going to do battle. Because if they were to attack it to get in here for whatever reason and it were to explode, everything would be for naught. Now, when I first talked about this, there were some people that were very upset. Well, geez, what about the ocean and the waves and my moon cycle and all this other stuff? So I went back to Morane and I says, hey, I've got, some gripes about the moon disappearing. And he says, well, we'll just get you another one. And I says, you'll make sure it won't be hollow, right? He says, yes. So apparently all that would really happen would be that the oceans would become lakes. We wouldn't have the tides, and we probably wouldn't have the crazy attitudes and such like that. I've asked them about astrology. And I want you to know this is their perspective. Okay? Does everybody hear what I just said? Okay. Their perspective is that it's not accurate. That the purpose for charting the stars, what originally we were taught and left with, was because they needed to know the magnetic flows of the stars and the systems for space travel. And that somehow we have taken that and made an entirely new, different belief system out of that knowledge. You knew that. Maybe I should sit out here. That's an option, huh? But you guys are so far from Colorado. Okay, all right. Let's do some questions. Yes.
Alex, why are the Andromedans and the council, which I thought was intriguing, the council that met, why did they decide to give the ultimatum to all the ETs that are in the earth and on the earth and above the earth at a specific time? And I think it's also of interest that some of the council rebelled and didn't want to send anything into here. So why? Okay, Alex, why? What's going to happen when everything's turned off? No, I have a good memory, Alex. And then number two, I forgot number two. Great memory.
Well, let me answer the first one. Some memory.
No,
okay. Let me answer the first one.
Let
me answer the first one. Okay. Apparently, the reason why they want to help and so many others want to help is because in your genetics you have a frequency that is attached to different races. Okay? I have a frequency that is attached to Andromeda. And what happens is they, as a race, just because I may move into another space in time or holograph, there is a part of me that is still attached to them. Okay? And there is a degree of non-evolution because of the law of consistency, we all don't move together. At some point, whenever that is, our entire universe, including all of the dimensions or planes, will implode and we will all go home to the source. Okay? This is one of the reasons why. The other reason, of course, is what I stated earlier, is because of our genetics. They want us to help them. We have something they need as well. Now, apparently when they first met to discuss our solar system, which is in a particular sector, which is along a trade route, which moves into the Andromedan galaxy and others galaxies. There were approximately 72 of the 133 originally that met. Of the 72, just more than half agreed to look into it and to help us. The other planetary races didn't want to help us, and this was their reason why. They don't respect their home, they don't respect themselves, and they don't respect each other. What is their value? I cried that night when I heard this. Because, I couldn't make an excuse. I mean, this is how a bunch of other races look at us. Fortunately, a majority had agreed to help because of the consequences long term. And basically that's why they're here. That's one of the reasons why they're here. Also, in our future, 400 years into our linear future, there is tyranny. in our galaxy. And somehow we are directly connected to that event or events. So in one way, they're really looking out for their own best interests by making sure that something is cleaned up here, that something comes into balance. And they know that as long as the other ETs that are here, the extraterrestrial races that are here, and are manipulating